My office is getting almost more calls than I can handle from folks who are getting warning letters from the ATF saying that they have information that you have acquired an FRT or WOT trigger, which of course is now a machine gun. So what are your options? What are the pros and cons? Because if my office is getting flooded with these kind of questions, I know that there's lots more people out there across the country who are getting these letters and don't know what to do. So I'm going to try to very quickly walk you through the basic landscape of the pros and cons of your fundamental 3 different options. Guys, let's get into it. So we're going to talk about your 3 options, but I want to quickly read really the most legally impactful paragraph from this letter, which is found on page 1. And they actually put it in bold, which rest assured will come back in court. Quote, "This letter officially notifies you that the unlawful receipt and possession of any of these devices is a felony violation of federal law, and devices that are unlawfully received or possessed are subject to seizure and forfeiture by the federal government. Continued possession of any of these devices could result in prosecution for criminal violations of federal law, as well as potential state criminal violations. Any future purchase or possession of such devices may subject you to prosecution as well, period," end quote. On the back of the sheet is then information saying that you should immediately contact, within 30 days from receiving this letter, a particular agent at a particular field office near you. And that leaves you with fundamentally 3 different questions. And I'm going to break it up like this. Rather than looking at it from the question, I'm going to look at it from the perspective of what position are you in. There's basically a couple different positions. You are either still in possession of these items, number 1. You are no longer in possession of these items, number 2. Or number 3, you're looking at dispossessing yourself one way or the other. So let's quickly go through this. Number 1, you're still in possession. Your fundamental options right now are basically, do I cooperate, not cooperate, or destroy? We're going to get all the destroy options. We're going to handle that as part of number 3. They have a paper trail that goes to you. Largely, as I've seen it, these paper trails primarily consist of sales records. You purchase something online, you purchase someone from a distributor or retailer or something like that. Typically, it's been online purchases. I have seen cases as well where ATF reached out to individual A. Individual A says, "Oh, I gave or sold it to you, individual B." And then they send you, individual B, the follow-up letter. So I have seen that as well. If you do not cooperate, we will see what they decide to do as far as acting on those threats. But they're threatening that they're going to basically warrant up. They're going to come after you at your home, your business, wherever it is that they think and they have information pertaining to where you may have these devices. And they're just basically going to keep coming after you. That's what they're saying that they're going to do. And I will note that the aggression level that I'm hearing reported to me from folks who have received phone calls and basically threats from some of these agents that are out there. I'm not saying all agents are threatening people, but I've gotten some very specific stories where they're saying, we're basically going to come harass you at your work. We're going to come harass you at your home. You need to call us back. You need to comply. Okay. You need to decide what you're going to do. Because if you are in possession and if they find it on a warrant, if they're going to prosecute anybody, it's going to be you. All right. So that's something to keep in mind. Now, if you are in possession, and if you decide that I'm going to cooperate, then one of the biggest questions, obviously, is how can I trust the ATF? I.e., if I walk into the ATF office holding what they are deeming to be a machine gun, how do I know that they're not going to slap the handcuffs on me and prosecute me? Short answer, you don't. You don't. Now, there's going to be a wide range of legal remedies in play, ranging from challenging the constitutionality of machine guns writ large, which is something we've looked at slightly in other videos, not going to cover here. We're looking at whether or not the ATF has the legal authority under Chevron and other cases to even issue this rule. We're going to be looking at the rule of lenity as it applies to criminal prosecution. Again, all things we've covered in many other videos, don't have time to do it here. So yes, you may have some legal options, but as cops say, you can beat the rap, but you can't beat the ride. And I'm not here telling you that you should or should not cooperate, but I'm letting you know that you're going to have a lot at stake, not only years in prison, but finances, God knows, missing X number of days, hours, and so forth of sleep. This is going to be incredibly stressful one way or the other. So if you're still in possession of these devices and you're getting letters like this, it's time to wake up and make some decisions, because you're going to be living with the consequences of those decisions, whatever they might be, for a long period of time, potentially for years and years and years to come. I also just want to throw out there as well that, of course, with cannabis being lawful in many states, but not under federal law, you do have to be mindful of the fact that, look, if you're going to choose not to cooperate and you are in possession of these items, that if the ATF comes in here, look, even if they don't find the device, but they do find your cannabis, are they going to go after that or whatever else they find? Are they going to go after that for federal prosecution? Are they going to refer it to some other authority? Maybe, we don't know. So that's kind of the quick hits of if you're in possession. We'll get to the destruction thing later on, of a little bit of the pros and cons. And yes, I understand shall not be infringed, all that kind of stuff. Guys, this is not a political soapbox video. This is just me trying to give you some quick hits, legal issues here. And again, this is all subject to your local state laws, of course. So really what you should be doing is contacting a local state attorney who's familiar with these sorts of areas. All right. And let's imagine now that you do not have these items. You don't. You sold it, you dispossessed yourself, maybe a boating accident, whatever the case may be, some time ago. But the bottom line that you need to remember is that the paper trail goes to you. Meaning that just because you know you are not in possession of these items, that doesn't mean the ATF doesn't have information putting them in your hand. Meaning that you are still extremely at risk for warrants, harassment, follow-up conversations, all that kind of stuff. So if you want to leave yourself on that list, if you have no problem with them coming in and raiding you and doing all that kind of stuff, and if you just basically on principle don't want to cooperate, that's fine, but that might be what's coming. See previous conversation on other adjacent items in your life that if you're okay with them hitting the son of day. If you do want to cooperate and just let them know, hey, I sold it, I dispossessed it, you know what their follow-up question is going to be. Who, where, when? That's what they're going to be asking so that they can contact those folks. If you don't give them a who at a minimum, and they're probably going to ask for a when as well, you're still inviting them into your life. And I'm not telling you that you should give people up. 0% saying that. Don't even think about putting that in the comment field. Someone will. But you get my point. They're going to be asking those follow-up questions. And if you tell them, yeah, I texted with them, I found them on this particular app or whatever the case may be, you might also be giving them information to then hit you up with subpoenas and warrants to take your phone and all that other kind of stuff. So you have to be extremely careful about how you communicate with them. By the way, you shouldn't be communicating with them. You should be going through an attorney. But I know that not everybody can afford an attorney, which is why I'm doing this video, to try to help people out. So you have to be extremely careful about how you communicate this to them. They're going to be interested when you also sent everything over, when you dispossessed yourself, whether that was through a sale, garbage, whatever the case may be. Because of course, if this happened after all these rules went public, that could open you up arguably to some sort of, well, you're an unlawful purveyor of machine guns. So you have to be extremely careful as to the when as well. And of course, we already touched on the how, i.e. is this through cash at a gun show or through someone that you know through work or a friend of a friend or something like that? Or is this somehow, some way you were dumb enough to do something through text messages, emails, all that kind of stuff, something where there's permanent electronic records out there. The last thing you should do, and we're going to get to this, so don't leave us, okay? There is one absolutely way, just stupid way, okay, of something you should absolutely not do. So if you do cooperate, keep in mind that there's going to be that line in the sand there. They're going to keep pushing you on that. And there's no guarantees out there that they're going to wind up believing you anyways, all right? The third thing now is destruction. Now keep in mind, I'm including the fact that if you've previously destroyed these items a long time ago, then that basically makes you a category 2 person, i.e. you're no longer in possession. And by destruction, I mean that these triggers cannot be restored, they cannot be readily converted to be operable or anything like that. Check out the NFA ruling on what exactly constitutes a machine gun. For category number 3, keep in mind, subject to state and federal laws, it may be a felony for you to destroy evidence. Notice that in the letter, they did not say destroy it or turn it in. They said, talk to us. That's what they said. That's not accidental that they failed to include destroy it. So keep in mind, if you destroy it and now decide to take pictures on your cell phone or a video of you doing that to show that, yeah, it's actually destroyed. Number one, you're proving that you actually did possess it, at least on that day, immediately prior to the act of destruction. Number two, you are arguably, subject to laws, of course, creating a evidence of a whole different crime that you've now destroyed evidence. You're creating evidence that you destroyed evidence. And then you're going to give that to who? The ATF? Is that really the smart play here? Probably not. I'm sure someone in the comment section will disagree with me. But those are all things I want you to keep in mind. And here's the really big thing of how you can just, like, the last thing you should do. The last thing you should do is get one of these letters and then go out and sell it. That's just the absolute worst play. Because number one, you now are on notice this is a machine gun. Now you're going to sell the machine gun. And number two, you're also, in essence, setting up whoever that other individual is. So don't do that, whatever you do. And guys, my whole take on this video, I want you to understand really quickly kind of what my perspective is. And before I get to that, if you enjoyed this video, please click like, share it around, subscribe to the channel, make sure you don't miss any other content. And I also want you to comment below if you've got interesting follow-up questions. I'll absolutely use that for other videos to get this information out there. And if there's a bunch of questions I can handle all one video, I'd love to do that too. But guys, my whole perspective on this isn't saying you should do X or you should do Y. Okay. I understand that there's a huge political dimension and we don't know where any of these lawsuits are going to go. But my job as an attorney is, in essence, to be as truthful as I can with people so that you understand what the pieces are on your chessboard. You as the player in your life on your chessboard, it is your decision how you want to move those pieces as best you can. And of course, the ATF, the justice system, and all these other individuals are going to play back at you. But this is not the moment for me to soapbox at you on this or that or the other thing. If you're getting these letters or if you know someone who has, you have extremely important decisions on a very tight timeline. Thanks for sticking around. As always, we will see you in the next one. Thanks for sticking around to the end of the video. If you enjoyed this one, please feel free to check out some of our other great content, and we'll see you in the next one.